Welcome back to From the Bench, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Eric, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Trevor Ward.
What's shaking, everybody?
There we go. We got Trevor here. It's the big draft episode, the post-draft. We get to talk about some picks, some guys that we all thought might be gone by the time that we got there, but not so much. So let's get right into it. We'll talk. I guess we never got into it. Trevor and I planned on doing more episodes for the pre-draft stuff.
Didn't happen.
Trevor's got a schedule right now due to work and stuff that Trevor's going in one day at 2:30, one day at 3:30, one day at 4:30. It just keeps on switching. But so Trevor's exhausted most days, and
I worked Saturday.
And works Saturdays, and
I'm tired today. But Eric approached me. He's like, "Let's get this podcast out." I was pumped, and we were both like, "Let's make it happen."
Exactly.
But we both apologize. I want to say it's more my fault there. I did a whole bunch of pre-scouting shit. I was telling Eric, like I did about 7 or 8 guys, but we just ran out of time. So like Eric said, I went in at 2 a.m. I think on Sunday night. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And then the next day was 2 a.m. as well. Then it was 3, 4. But anyways, that's in the past. And for all you guys that are keen and want to know, tomorrow I go in for 6:30. I'm following the tide. So, yes, sir.
Yeah,
so next Friday will be a late one, Eric.
There you go.
Get what I'm saying?
Perfect. Awesome. That's exactly what you wanted to hear.
Let's get right into it. Do you want to do your first guy? Do you want me to do, or
so?
What do you want to do?
We'll start off the draft. We'll just kind of talk about. We'll just kind of run down the picks real quick. This won't be a hockey episode, so if anyone's waiting for some hockey, we'll leave that out. It's kind of going to be a quick episode anyways. I got work tonight, plus I got coaching for lacrosse, so me and Trevor, between all of our schedules, we're trying to fit everything in, but this will just be a football episode for anyone listening. But if you're a hockey fan, listen anyways. Maybe you'll learn something about football from 2 guys that know a little bit about football. So draft starts off. It is the least talked about first overall pick, I think, that I can ever remember. It's just because it was just such a obvious choice for so long. You know, literally, Trevor Lawrence would have been the first quarterback taken in the Baker Mayfield draft, right? Like, you know, or
fact,
or that would have been the Kyler Murray draft. Sorry, he would have been the first overall pick in that draft. Would have been the first overall pick last year against Joe Burrow probably. And then obviously, so now he's 3 years into college football. So now they're like, yeah, here you go. You're obviously the first overall pick. But I don't know if I've ever seen a first overall, like a prospect like that talked so little about through the whole thing. You know, all they would come on and say, well, he's a unicorn. He's amazing. He's so smart. He's got all this, that, whatever. But I just found it odd. Like just nobody really talked about him and like maybe I said maybe it's just because it was so obvious that why try to, you know, in years past
slam dunk.
Yeah, exactly right. In years past, even hockey gets it right. Well, is it going to be McDavid or is it going to be Eichel? Is it going to be Matthews or is it going to be who's Matthews here? Matthews and whoever that was.
Doesn't even matter.
Anyways.
I almost want to think it was a defenseman.
Anyways, but whoever it was was just
They'll
like
come to me.
It was one of those things. It's just like back and forth. Even in football, is it Goff? Is it Wentz? Is it Baker? Is it, you know, whoever? This year, like I said, pretty obvious. Then the Jets, you know, they go out and grab Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU, who we did a little talking about. Zach Wilson's awesome. He's going to be really good, I think. He is a little, you know, he's a pretty boy, so see if he can handle it, right? But he's going to be a good young guy. 3rd overall. It was coming up the whole way to the draft.
That was the excitement. That's when the draft started.
Yeah.
Because nobody had a fucking idea what they were doing.
No.
They thought they did.
Yeah. Everyone thought they knew what was going on. But you had the Niners. And the whole time for the last 2 months, it's essentially been talked about that it's Mac Jones. It's Mac Jones. It's Mac Jones. Mac Jones fits the system for...
Sprinkled in with a little bit of Trey Lawrence, Trey Lawrence.
Trey
Oh
Lance.
my goodness. Trey Lance. Sorry, people. Yeah. I'm tired. But it doesn't matter. I'm drinking a kickstart. We're giving her. But like Eric said, so that's where I find the draft really fucking started.
Yep.
It was actually exciting. You're wondering, are they going to do something? Are they going to take Mac Jones? Anyway, so they go with your boy.
Trey Lance.
You predicted that, kind of. I'll give you the credit for that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You said you liked it. You liked it better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I remember you saying that.
I think the Mac Jones pick is Now we'll get into it later, but
At 3, you don't like.
No, because I think what Mac Jones has the potential. Maybe he becomes better than this, but his probable outcome is something along the lines of a Kirk Cousins or a Jimmy G, which isn't a bad quarterback, right? That's a good, if you can tell yourselves that you're going to get Jimmy G or Mac, or
he's kind of an old school quarterback, like you said too. He's like he's an athlete, but he's not like the most athletic quarterback.
Exactly.
So he likes to
but instead, with what they have here, and that's the Trey Lance kind of made sense to me, because just where they're talking about that they're keeping Jimmy G on the roster and everything else, to me that means that they're going to try the Patrick Mahomes approach, where you kind of sit him behind the veteran, Alex Smith, Jimmy G, that guy's going to get the reins, maybe sprinkle him in the bat in the second half. Jimmy G's going to get hurt obviously at some point during the season.
He's probably going to play,
eventually. So he's probably going to play at some point, unless they want to really wheel out CJ Beathard or whoever else out there, right? So you're going to have all that. And I just thought, I thought there's a possibility for Fields too. And we'll get into that later, but it's just weird. Fields has been the number 2 overall pick since him and Lawrence came into college football.
Since high school. Since high school. Both of them come out of high school.
They both came out of Georgia. And they were the number 1, number 2 the whole way through. They were number 1, number 2 all throughout the season. So I don't know if it's just they found out he has got poor work ethic, or I've heard all kinds of stories and heard enough podcasts that you kind of wonder. Also, just to backtrack real quick, Trevor sent me a podcast. It's Move the Sticks with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. Them interviewing Trevor Lawrence's brother is probably the most awkward conversation and interview I've ever heard, sorry, because they were literally talking to him. They're like, so like, you're an artist, like you didn't play sports, and buddy's like, yep, sure didn't play sports, I'm an artist. And they're like, so like, does that creativity, you think that like transfers over to Trevor and how he plays football? And they're like, why are you really trying to push this whole narrative that his brother's creative and
football? Come on.
His brother's creative with art, and that how Trevor Lawrence is a creative quarterback. I'm like, this is the most awkward conversation. You guys just got to stop. The rest of them were pretty good though, just to hear how
that was, what I liked about their some of their interviews though, what I thought was cool is like they talked to some of the guys, quarterbacks, high school coaches, some of their college coaches as well, just to hear what they had to say and how those guys lead.
Yeah.
And they lead a little bit differently, but they to me, those two, Fields and Lawrence, they have similar qualities. Like they go out in the field, they're not, I don't want to say rah-rah guys, but they go out in the field and they lead. Like they do it by leading, by actually doing it on the field. Yeah, you'll see Trevor Lawrence like kind of like, come on boys, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I think and you see when you see Fields, he's all business, man. Like he's always serious, but he's just got that calm, both of them, that calm, cool demeanor. I love them both for that.
Yeah.
Eric did a lot more on Wilson.
Yeah.
I did some. I liked what I seen. Like Eric said, he's got a sick arm and he's a freak when it comes. He's like an athlete.
Yeah.
But so I'm really excited to see what goes on there. But anyways, let's dive into a couple guys that we actually
so
we really like and we don't.
We'll just go through like what we'll do is we'll go through the rest of them to our picks, and then we'll just kind of go recap everything. But then you had Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts at number 4. That's almost where the draft started, because you were kind of wondering, like, do they draft Fields? Do they say screw it, we're gonna take the quarterback of the future? Maybe they put him behind Matty Ice for a year. They trade Julio, then they trade Matty Ice. Do they do that? Georgia boy, blah, blah, blah. No, they just said, we're going to take who I think Kyle Pitts. I understand he's a tight end. I think that guy should just change it and tell everybody, no, I'm a receiver instead. And it's just because of everything. When it comes to the way that he's going to do everything in the future, even for his contract and stuff, what a tight end gets paid compared to what a wide receiver gets paid, 2 totally different things. So wait to see what they kind of get out of that. But he is a heck of a football player. Strong hands, everything else you could want out of a tight end. He's not the greatest blocker, but I will say
he gets in the way.
He tries. That's all you need to hear, is that he tries. He's not a, I'm trying not to, I don't watch them all the time, but I feel like an Evan Ingram or a David Njoku, maybe they do maybe they do block a little more than what I'm thinking here, but I don't feel like those guys are, in the trenches really trying that hard when it comes to it. Because obviously their bread and butter is made with the passing game, right? So it is what it is.
Lack of effort in the passings or the blocking is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll jump into it.
Yeah.
Because of the tape, I'll just say a couple things. I actually did them, but we didn't do them on the pod like we said earlier. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to ramble on here. So his year previous to this one, his blocking sucked. I'll just be straight up with you. It sucked. There was a lack of effort. It didn't seem like he just didn't seem to give a shit about blocking. I'll just break it down for you that violently. Then this year here, when you put on the tape, his hands are getting on the guys. He's engaged with the blocking. He looks like he's trying to do it, making it happen. And more often than not, he is. Some of the blocking's awesome. Like he's on the guy for a while. And sometimes you wish he was a little bit more. But the effort was there, like Eric said earlier. So you could see some improvement, which you wanted to. Is there more there? Freaking sure. He's going to get coached up in that area if he plays tight end and in the big league. Yeah. But I think he will. Yeah. I'll just throw this in there. I think he will because Atlanta has 2 wide receivers unless they trade Julio. Yeah. And it's a fact in the NFL, and you're starting to see it in the college now ranks too. The seams, you hit big plays in the seams. Tight ends are killing it, like Kittle, Gronk back in his day. Kelsey. I'm missing somebody. Yeah, Kelsey. These guys live in the seams, and you're seeing the really good slot receivers as well. That's the part of the field everybody's attacking. Yep. Better matchups, so on. So I love the pick. Yep. I'll just come out and say it.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Jeez, Louise.
Like, why not? I'll be the first to tell you, Atlanta, man. You got Matt Ryan. Yes, he's 35 years old, but he's got weapons now. His line, they addressed that a little bit in the draft. Should be a little bit better, but I still like where they went with it. So we both like the pick here.
Yep, I sure do.
Same here, especially with value. They were almost basically saying he was the second best player in the draft.
Yeah, if not first.
So yeah, exactly. So, and you're at 4. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. So past that, we got the Bengals. Everyone kind of wondered. They obviously had 2 choices, right? Do you decide you're going to protect Joe Burrow with another, offensive tackle in Sewell or Slater, one of the 2, right? Or do you kind of link him back up with Jamar Chase, or do you decide to go with Jalen Waddle? Kind of what are they going to do with him? They decide, look, we're going to give you your buddy to come play with you in when Mr. Jamar Chase obviously sat out last year. I was talking to my buddy Shane that was here watching the draft that night.
Cowboys.
He loves his Cowboys. But we were talking about it, and I said, well, the thing about Jamar Chase is he sat out. I said, and the reason why he sat out, I said, because it made all the sense in the world. Why wouldn't you? Like, why would you not? What did he have to gain by, going into this and becoming another, playing again or, nothing. Your draft stock can't go up if you're Jamar Chase after the season you just put up with Joe Burrow. So if you have the out to not play,
plus your quarterback left, let's be realistic. So you're getting a new quarterback.
Exactly. So you're just going to look worse. So just sit out. They know what you did 2 years ago and go from there. It's an interesting, but like I said, me and Trevor both like the same way. You build through the trenches. I think you already had Tyler Boyd there. You just spent a 2nd round pick on T. Higgins last year. I like Jamar Chase. I don't think Jamar Chase is a game breaker. I don't think a Jamar Chase at, number 5 overall. I don't know if he's worth the value at 5 overall. It's nothing against him. It's just to be worth of the 5th overall pick, you have to be some good. And it's just, you have to be a Julio to me, a Megatron. Some of these really big name guys, a Mike Evans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Julio Jones.
Yeah, like I find Jamar Chase wins a lot with his physicality and his, brute force and his body.
Believe it or not, he's only 6 foot, Eric.
Yeah, he's not that big. So that
was kind of mind-boggling to me, but he's got a body type similar to a former Cowboy. Is it Dez?
Dez, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about him like a Dez and like Anquan Bolden, I think, is another one they kind of had him like.
Same body type. Yep.
It's a little different, like I think, and it's the league's changed since then too. But like I said, I don't think he's going to be bad by any stretch of imagination. But for the 5th overall pick, when literally your quarterback almost had his leg amputated on the field because he can't, and obviously these guys are going to get hit no matter what, no matter who you put out there. But to me, I mentioned before, I would have had a Jonah Williams on the left, leave him there, put Sewell at right tackle, kick somebody else into guard, and go from there, right? See what you got throughout the time. Next, number 6, our boy Cody and his Miami Dolphins grabbed Jalen Waddle, the small little speedy receiver out of Alabama. Missed some time last year, but he was the number one. Obviously Devontae Smith ended up stealing the show over there, but before that, he was the main guy there. So he was the one getting kind of double teamed, and he was one getting looked at all the time, which almost makes it even more impressive that what Smith did, what he did once he left and was injured. Like I said, I think I mentioned last year, the craziest thing is out of all this is that Henry Ruggs was still, I think I mentioned it last year, Henry Ruggs was the 4th best receiver for Alabama, and he went, he was the first receiver off the board last year, which still crazy to me.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, exactly. Next was the jumping and excitement team, and that was the Detroit Lions. They were just laughing and jumping and
love the pick,
going crazy, and it fits right into what they want to build over there. They want to build a rough and tumble.
Maybe they're going to get it right for a chance, Eric. Maybe they'll get it fucking right this time.
Exactly.
They had a hell of a draft. This is one of my. I'm going to tell you right now, their first 2 picks, like you just said.
Yeah.
So you're saying Sewell.
Yeah.
But their second pick, they got the second best tackle, interior tackle.
Yeah.
From Washington. I love it, man. Like right there and then, like they've got actually their first 3 picks are all are 2 tackles. So their second pick or third pick was a tackle too.
You build through the line.
They're starters.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Like they're 100% better already.
Why was Tom Brady so good this year? Because nobody came within 5 freaking yards of him. Right, not to say
they're not getting pressure up the middle.
You can't get pressure anywhere, right? So, but Penei Sewell, first lineman off the board, that gets me going a little bit, right? As a Chargers fan that needed an offensive lineman, I was getting a little worried at that point because I was like, 7th overall. That's there's a lot of picks between me and that next person. So next one was the Carolina Panthers. Same thing. Nobody knew what they were going to do. Do they take a Devontae Smith where they can add? Obviously they lost they lost a couple of guys, or they got Robbie Anderson and they got DJ Moore, but what do you do on that side? Last year they literally spent every one of their draft picks on a defensive player. Do they go line
and
to
their defense needed the upgrade, so it was a good call by them. Right?
And this year they said, "No, what? We're going to keep on going on that defense. We got all these guys. We got this great head coach over here that's doing great work. We're going to take J.C. Horn, the best cornerback in this entire draft, out of South Carolina. He's so good.
Plug him in. He's going to start.
He's going to
right
play.
Off the hop.
Exactly. Next, now it's the Denver Broncos, and the Denver Bronco fans are losing it. And I guess we should say, I don't know if you actually know this, Trevor, because I know Trevor's been, like I said, we've been working, so he's missed a couple of things. Have you seen the rumors about Aaron Rodgers?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Aaron Rodgers, for anyone who doesn't know, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Apparently he is, for lack of better words, pissed off with the organization. He's not happy at all. He can't believe what they did last year. Blah, 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 blah. Jordan Love, obviously, instead of, they drafted one offensive player since 2012 for Aaron Rodgers, and the offensive player in the first round was one Mr. Jordan.
Wasn't it?
No, it was Jordan Love. So in the last in the last 9 years, they've drafted one offensive player in the first round, and that is his replacement essentially. So he's just upset.
Eventually.
He wants a contract extension. Just comes off an MVP level year. The team does nothing but say the worst things in the world. So it comes out like 2 days before the draft, probably from Aaron Rodgers himself, that he is not happy and that he wants a trade and that he does not want to play for the Green Bay Packers ever again.
I heard he asked for a trade at the end of the year.
Yeah. So
that's hilarious.
And he's still pushing it. He's just pretty much saying now that like he won't play for them next year and that he wants to be traded. I guess they're coming out and saying they won't trade him, but then there's reports that saying that there's almost a deal done with Denver. So you don't know what's going on. Are they going to take a quarterback, i.e. Justin Fields or Mac Jones? Are they going to get another weapon or a lineman or something to help protect Aaron Rodgers when they get him? None of that. They don't do any of that. They draft Pat Surtain the second. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are old enough now that players that we watched in the past have their kids playing.
Growing up.
So that we had it last year.
His father was a beauty, man. His father was sick.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like the second here is going to be really good too, man. I watched the tape on him, and he's a beauty too.
He's going to be good.
He got so much better than last year. It's unreal. And he was good last year.
Yeah, no,
he's just going to throw that out there.
He's a heck of a player, so that's who they get. Then the Eagles, they hear that the Giants at 11, that they want, apparently they've been leaking it all over the place, that the Giants want a receiver, and they want Devontae Smith if he's there. So what do the Eagles do? They give up like a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick, move up 2 spots from number 12 with the Cowboys, and they move up kind of almost like a
number 10. Move up to number 10.
Exactly, kind of almost like
Cowboys are in 10.
Exactly,
okay,
kind of like almost like an FU, because I think the Cowboys were.
Not kind of, Eric. It's totally a fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I think the Cowboys had the chance to get into the playoffs, and then the Eagles kind of sat them or something against the Giants anyway. So they just kind of went through all this stuff.
What do you mean when the Eagles took out their starting quarterback and put in like a 3rd or 4th string quarterback?
Because he just.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Because he deserved it. Devontae Smith, the wide receiver out of Alabama that broke, did everything you could ask for. The guy just put up like 300 yards a game. He gets taken by the Eagles to kind of, and I wasn't sure if they would because they obviously drafted Jalen Reagor last year, but they said, look, we're going to, this is just all the receivers getting reunited with their, old quarterbacks essentially, but he's going to go down there with Jalen Hurts and hopefully, show out. Then we had another big trade, and it's the Giants. So now the Giants are upset because they didn't get their receiver they wanted. For the first time out of like 77 draft picks that Dave Gettleman over there with the Giants has had, he decides, you know what, we're going to trade back. They got an extra 1st. I think they got a 4th out of it. But they trade back with the Chicago Bears, and the Chicago Bears now have the best quarterback in franchise history, and he hasn't even played a snap yet.
I'm fucking devastated. They're going to ruin another fucking quarterback that I like. God damn it.
I say that, but Jay Cutler is probably still the best quarterback in Bears history. But I was joking around.
Since you've been watching, you're goddamn right he is.
Probably in history, man.
Better than that, the only one better than that was Rex Grossman. And how'd that work out in the Super Bowl?
And what is that? And what is that telling you when Rex Grossman's your second best quarterback?
We're on the fucking same page here, bud.
So Rex Grossman was terrible, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, he literally got drugged along between the defense and Devin Hester being the magician that he was that season, all the way to the Super Bowl. But really, I kind of made a joke with a couple Bears fans that I know, and I kind of said, like, Andy Dalton went in when they signed Andy Dalton. I'm like, Andy Dalton's now a top 5 quarterback in top 3 quarterback in Bears history, and they're like, yeah, he probably is actually. Yeah, because like who you going with? You got Jay Cutler's probably the best quarterback. Now, obviously, what was the old quarterback? The guy with the headband, the sunglasses that had the Jim McMahon.
Yes, that is Jim McMahon.
So he's probably the most legendary Bears quarterback, but he's not the best, right? Like he wasn't.
He didn't have to win.
Exactly, right? But it was what it was, right? That era of for him, but he's probably the best or the most notable Bears quarterback. Behind that's probably Jay Cutler, and now it was Andy Dalton for all of a month and a half, and now all of a sudden it's Justin Fields. Justin Fields has taken over that mantle for him. But that's huge for the Chicago Bears. You got to be happy.
Fucking Bears just seem like a team with no plan, eh? Like it's just like a panic move. Like you see the draft picks, they like what they threw together and like to go up and get them. Like I just feel like the Bears. Like I feel bad for you guys, man, Bears fans. Like I like the Bears, but it just feels like that front office and that coach Maggie. Yeah. They have no goddamn plan. Like it just feels like they.
I think
I don't know.
I think that they feel like they're closer than they actually are. No, maybe that's not the case. Maybe they are pretty close, right? Their defense is really good. They have a lot of studs over there, and literally the last 3 or 4 years when they had their window.
They let Fuller walk because of cap trouble. Like so. Yeah. I don't like how that organization's run a little bit right now. To be honest.
Like I said, hopefully it's a little better. Like I said, obviously you're doubling back. You kind of got screwed out of all the draft picks from the Trubisky trade, which didn't make any sense when you traded up for him. That made no sense at the time. I don't think there was a bidding war for Mitch Trubisky that year.
Oh my God. Did you hear that moving the sticks? They're talking about him.
Trubisky?
And they had him like, so they're talking about Trubisky and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, I think like a year and a half starter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I watched him in college anyways, a lot. I told Eric this a long time ago. People in the pod, you don't know this. So anyways, They went on about how accurate he was and he was a leader and all this shit. He was never accurate, and he had accuracy problems in college. That was the first thing I remembered. And they were talking about when they jumped up to take him at number 3. I was shitting myself.
It's because he was 6'5". He's
horrible.
He's 6'5", looks the part, handsome guy,
could run,
and he's
like
white.
He's athletic, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's white like and athletic, and it's like, yeah, that's our quarterback. It's like you probably need a little bit more than that, but it was what it was. But anyways, so Justin Fields, that's the shock of the draft. Nobody expected the Bears to move up there.
One of them.
I think some people were just screaming, some Patriots fans were just screaming at the TV to, trade up so they could get a Justin Fields, so they could get a Mac Jones. No, they're not trading. Instead, it's just the Bears moving up. The Dallas Cowboys traded back, though, because they look and they see Micah Parsons. They see
Shout out Shane. Love the fucking pick.
Exactly.
Bro.
So they know that
get those corners. Love the pick.
Exactly. So when they get the call from the Eagles that they want to trade up, they know for a fact at that point that the Eagles aren't trading up for a linebacker. That's not happening. Nobody trades up for a linebacker.
Unless you're New England.
Exactly. But they're not trading up for him. They know the Giants aren't going to spend it because the Giants have told everybody for the last month that they need a receiver in the first round because they're idiots. So they said, no, we're going to trade back 2 picks. So they trade back 2 picks to get the Eagle, blah, blah. They drive Micah Parsons out of Penn State, the linebacker. We did a great big thing on the podcast about him a couple episodes ago. I think he's very good. I think he has a chance to be a very good. I compared him to almost like a Devin White over there in Tampa Bay. I don't think he's like a Levante David or Luke Kuechly or any of these guys that just see the game. Like I said, those linebackers that just can read a defense from a mile away, that can just see all this stuff before it happens. I don't see them as that. I don't see him as that kind of guy, but I do see him as a good complementary linebacker. And maybe he becomes that. Maybe that's what happens to him in the future. But for right now, I just see him as a point him in the right direction, wind him up, and let him go. And like I said, they obviously have linebackers. They got Van Der Esch, but he's been injured, especially with his neck thing. They had Jalen Smith. He hasn't really turned out to be what they kind of expected him to be. So
he's good, but he needs a Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to figure this out.
He's more of a Robin, Jalen Smith. He's good.
Yeah,
but he's not the main guy. Yeah, great.
But now at this point, when I see Micah Parsons, Parsons getting drafted, myself as a Chargers fan, I am doing backflips over here. I am losing my mind, and I'm like, please just don't screw this up. Don't mess up. I do not want a linebacker. I do not want some random freaking tight end. I don't want some running back. I don't just please, for the love of God, I don't need some 4th receiver here. Just please, for the love of God, grab Rashawn Slater. That's all I ask. He's my favorite tackle in the entire draft. And what do, Trevor? They grant my wish, and they give me Mr. Rashawn Slater. So at this point,
I knew you were fucking doing backflips at home. Like, I knew you were so pumped because you've been wanting a tackle probably 3 years now, if not longer. And you guys took that linebacker last year, and I thought you were going to shit yourself. Like, you were not happy.
And I like Kenneth Murray, don't get me wrong, but I just saw that we had a lot of issues, right? Yeah.
No, you're right. Like you had holes, but I just thought it was funny because I knew you were jumping for joy. You're like, oh my God, thank you, Lord, for the first time in years.
Literally, so Trevor slept through the draft, people, because obviously he was that day. I think he was getting up.
I had to, yeah.
It was super early, so Trevor passed out at like
3 a.m, I think.
Yeah, so he was out at like, I think he sent me his picks at like 7:30, something like that, and he was like, hey man, I'm going off to bed. Night. See you later. Here's my top 10 picks. Sent them off to me and then passed out. So in the morning, first message I see is Trevor messaging me, you got your boy. You got this later. Oh, yeah. So
I was so pumped for you,
which is pretty good. So, but no, so we had that, like I said, to me, the best tackle in the draft. Obviously, so far this offseason, the Chargers have just spent so much on the line. And I don't know if that's just a Brandon Staley.
But they should have did this years ago.
100%. And that was even last year. That was one of my issues I had with drafting Herbert, was that we needed a line. We needed something to protect him, and I wanted to build that line before we put a rookie quarterback into that situation. Now Herbert, handled it very well, obviously.
But he's also a freak. He's a freak athlete.
And he was highest rated quarterback under pressure last year. Like, that's not a stat that you can kind of rely on as time goes on. You're going to get beat up. It's going to be worse and worse. You're going to get an Andrew Luck situation, right? Everyone said forever, well, Andrew Luck is this tough guy. It's okay that he gets hit. He likes it. Yeah, he only liked it as long as he could, and then he got tired of getting the crap beat out of him.
Nobody likes to get hit, bro.
No.
Fuck that. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to get hit. They add up, man. It's like a car. Like, you get that first rock chip, boy.
Yeah.
And you get another rock chip, and you get another one. It's not good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's it, right?
Adds up over time.
So, but for me, I'm just like, finally, and maybe it was an Anthony Lynn thing. I think that was kind of it. I think Anthony Lynn kind of thought that they could develop offensive linemen, and the scheme that they would run would be able to develop linemen better than they could. I think he had to kind of take a look inward, and he never did. Probably part of his design, his what happened at the end of it, right? But now you get Brandon Staley in, defensive guru, mastermind. He's kind of like the defensive Sean McVay is kind of what they call him. He obviously was over there with Sean McVay last year. Had the Rams rated as the number one defense in the league.
In his first year,
obviously he's got different ideas of what to do. So he's just, they said they get Corey Linsley, they grab two other guards off of a free agency. They go out and grab Rashawn Slater. So right now you replace 4 pieces on your offensive line, and you've now made it from one of the weaknesses on your team to one of the strengths on your team in the matter of
so
2
much
months.
more depth. You guys have so much more depth,
awesome.
and that's what you want.
Yeah. Past there, the Jets. So with the Jets' second first round pick,
they finally get it right. So they got the right general manager in there. He's got a goddamn plan, Eric. And I've never been so excited to see the Jets grab. Are you gonna say
yeah?
The name?
So they trade up. 1 second. They trade up for Elijah Vera Tucker. So they trade up to number 14. I think they were like 23rd overall or something like that originally.
Yeah, around there.
Around there, somewhere in the 20s. So but they say, you know what? We want. We just seen Slater come off the board. We want to grab. Obviously, he played left tackle in college. A lot of people project him to be a guard in the next level. So in the NFL, so they grab Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC, which is great. Put him at left guard. Do you want to know why? Because you got Mekhi Becton from last year, who was an absolute monster over there for the Jets out of Louisville. So they trade up, grab him. They're happy. They can't ask for anything better. Now they have the left side of that line, or maybe they move him over to right. I know I talked last year, or when I talked about Mac Jones thing, that I didn't like the right tackle over there, George Fant, I think it is, and I had a lot of pushback on that. A lot of pushback online. Just want you to know, Trevor, on the YouTubes.
Well, most people don't watch fucking football apparently because
they're like, he's not terrible. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, maybe it's just the games that I watch, but I didn't think he looked that great.
So what's the rest of the line terrible? He's not fucking good.
Yeah, I'm like Becton looked awesome, but Fant not so much.
Maybe a great backup.
Yeah, so I just kind of said, like, it is what it is. I kind of just referenced Pro Football Focus real quick, and I was like, look, he was rated as like 60. His grade was like 61. Sam Tevy for the Chargers was a 51. Obviously, that's worse, but and that's terrible, obviously. But like, if you're talking like a Trent Williams was rated as I think like 87 or something like that. So obviously, he wasn't perfect for any stretch of imagination. But anyway, so Elijah Vera Tucker, they're like, look, there we go, bam, we got him. And then it's the New England Patriots, Trevor. They didn't trade up.
They didn't trade up,
move.
boy. And Mac Jones just fucking steal him. And I was happy because, as Eric knows, I liked Fields a lot. And I just feel like he's going to be a good leader, Fields. I think he needs to be coached up in some areas, but that's like any young player. There's flaws there. But I just think he's got the potential to be – I think he's going to be a really good leader. Almost like Dak, but I think he's going to be better. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong. I'm pumped because he plays a similar system than what New England used to play with Tom Brady. Obviously, we adjusted that because we got Cammy coming back. And I love that we brought Newton back now because there's no way in hell Mac Jones plays this season unless there's a lot of injuries. So I even think Stidham, which I hate to say that, will get a crack over Mac because I think Mac will sit. I think like Belichick's already come out and said he's going to do a lot of sitting this year. watching, learning. So just the things he does on the tape, like, so he's more of a rhythm time guy. He's got a good arm, not great. It's like not a strong arm, but Tommy never did either.
No.
He's just quick with his progressions and getting the ball out. Now, I said this earlier. He's kind of panics at the start of the year. He panicked when he got pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
But as a football player, or let's just say a coach or a scout, when you watch the tape and you watch further on in the season, he rectified the problem. So what happened when he got pressure? He'd missed a receiver by miles there.
Yeah.
He'd overthrow him by miles or throw 5 yards underneath. Well, don't worry. We got Cam Newton. He does that, and he's been in the NFL for how many years? So,
yeah.
Anyways, but I like
Cam overthrows guys by 5 yards when he's not pressured, so that's fine.
Exactly, or under 5 yards. But I like the pick. There's a lot there. But again, me and Eric already discussed this. This is the NFL. You got to put your work in. You got to put your time in. It's a lot faster league. So We'll see what goes on here. I'm excited though. He fell to us, Eric. So we didn't have to trade up and get rid of picks because we need all the draft capital we can get. Even though we had a crazy offseason, we added in free agency, which I don't believe in, and fixed a bunch of holes. We still need to get more young talent in there, as you know.
I think you got to get that boy on the TB12 diet right now because that boy is probably the most.
Isn't that ironic?
He's the most
picture. It looks exactly like
he's the most unathletic person I've ever seen in my life, and he
looks like T-Rex. He looks like me out there. Bro.
Well, the problem is he kind of looks like he looked like some of the offensive linemen because he's got such a. And this is gonna sound. He's got a really big ass. Like he's got like big hips, everything else. Like he almost looks like awkward out, like walking out because it looks like if he didn't have the arm to like throw and stuff, he probably would have been a center or something. Because
he's such a beauty.
You know what I mean? Like he's just got such like those big offensive lineman hips and stuff. Like that's just the way he's kind of built.
He looks like a very athletic tight end.
Oh my god, it's so bad. But anyways, like I said, he's obviously, all this highlight tape that you want to watch on Devontae Smith, on Jalen Waddle, all these guys. Guess what? It was him throwing the ball. And every time that ball was landing right exactly where it had to go. So, like I said, is he going to give you that athletic, part that, these other guys.
Is he going to take off out of the pocket? No, probably not.
No, like Justin Fields can run for 50 yards, same with Trey Lance, same with even Trevor Lawrence, right?
Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't get enough credit.
Zach Wilson's also kind of that sneaky, kind of that Drew Brees-esque kind of, shiftiness out there. I just use Drew Brees as an example just because, not super athletic, but like will move around out of the pocket and kind of get where he wants to. And it can kind of put a move on a guy once in a while. But Mac Jones isn't doing that at all. If Mac Jones gets out there against a linebacker and try to put some move on him, you just bury him 6 feet under. Next, after that, there's a couple other ones. We'll touch on a couple. You had Zaven Collins for the Cardinals. Sure, I guess, because that's what.
Not a fan either.
No.
Because they just drafted one last year, and he should have been so much better than what he was. They didn't know what to do with him. They've been drafting weird. Not a fan.
Yeah, they drafted Isaiah Simmons last year, and anyway, so I just
should have been so much better.
Speaking of head scratching moves, the Raiders apparently can't draft anybody that's not from a college named Alabama or Clemson because they grab Alex Leatherwood on many people's draft board, like the 7th or 8th, if not worse, lineman on their draft board. He comes off the board at 4. The Raiders are just so dumb with this. I had so much faith in Mike Mayock because I thought he was a smart guy. He literally every year just either drafts a guy from Alabama or a guy from Clemson, and that's all he knows how to draft.
I feel as though it's John Gruden's show.
And maybe it is. I feel like
Gruden must have had him high.
I know, but it's just, and I understand he's a big guy, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But what a terrible pick when you have guys like Darisaw, you have all these other guys there, and this is what happens. Jalen Phillips, the edge for...
The best edge player.
The best pass rusher. And we talked about it on the pod.
Let's say that. Sorry.
So he's the best pass rusher. He's long, he's lanky, he's got the moves. Like I said, has to work on the run game a bit, but that's not what Miami cares about. Miami wants to just get after the quarterback, and I think they might found a guy.
Like, what is that at 18?
18.
That's a great pick. Yeah. I love that pick. Like Eric said, I couldn't understand the Raiders. Sucked.
It's so
Move
stupid.
On.
They're terrible.
So stupid.
Jamin Davis, the linebacker out of Kentucky, went to Washington. That's a decent pick. Like I said, it's a linebacker. Everyone knows.
I like that pick.
I'm not
great move. That's a Rivera move.
Yeah.
He's fixing that second level to their defense. 4 studs.
Yeah.
On their defensive line, and we're moving on. Exactly. I love the pick too.
There you go. Talking about stupid people, David Gettleman for the New York Giants go up and they trade back. So everyone knows they want a receiver. So instead of just grabbing the best guy available, because obviously there's no receivers now at 20 that really fit that bill for what you want. Nope, they draft Kadarius Toney out of Florida, who same thing.
I like him, but it's not what they needed.
And definitely,
I hate this pick.
And probably is the 8th best receiver out of this draft class.
That's why I don't like it. Like he's a slot guy. Like they just need more help, and he's not durable either. I hate to say that.
You got guys there. You just signed Kenny Golladay.
I preferred. You're gonna think I'm crazy,
Sterling
but
Shepard.
I preferred what Dallas did. Like why didn't they take Parsons? Is beyond me. Like, anyways, let's not even talk about it.
As the Giants, you just signed Golladay to a big contract, huge contract. You got Sterling Shepard there. You got Evan Ingram there. You got all these other random little guys. Why are you drafting a receiver? And I understand it has to become something you need, but I think Gettleman was just like, yeah, I'm grabbing a receiver. I need a receiver. And they just grabbed that. Like, to me, it didn't make any sense.
To me, I like Moore a lot better than him too.
Yeah.
Why not even take Moore there? Fuck.
Anyways,
whatever.
Indianapolis Colts. They grabbed Kwity Paye. I like Kwity Paye. Everyone knows this. He was really good in the run game. It's probably one of my favorite breakdowns, the defensive lineman stuff from the last episode we did. But Kwity Paye, really good in the run game. He's going to sure that up for the Indianapolis Colts. And like I said, he's probably getting the best floor out of all these guys, just because obviously he's going
to be good, I think.
Yeah. Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, the cornerback. He's got major injury problems. He's got the back. He's got all this other stuff.
Steal for them, though.
The Titans said,
especially
look.
At 22.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right? The Titans said, look, we're going to take the best player available. Hopefully we can work through his injury issues. Our doctors.
And they need a cornerback, man. They keep grabbing free agents in New England, and it's not working out.
No. So they grabbed him, see what they can do with him. The Minnesota Vikings had traded back. That was with the Jets. Minnesota Vikings grabbed Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle. It can be a top 3 tackle in this, draft for sure. And with him, it's all about he just has to try a little harder. That's his only thing. Now I'm going to get into 2 picks I don't like, and Trevor's going to know this. First one is Pittsburgh Steelers at number 24 overall. They have so many issues. Their offensive line is terrible.
Oh, just couldn't leave their running backs alone. Couldn't do it.
And I understand you just had James Conner go. That offensive line is so terrible. You have so many other issues. You're losing guys left, right, and center on the defensive end because you've developed them very well. Exactly, right? Because they become very good players and you just can't afford them anymore. So, which is a good thing. You're obviously developing these guys to become very good players. The problem is you have to have a succession plan for them. What you shouldn't do is draft Najee Harris with the 24th pick in the first round. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. And I understand he's good. Don't get me wrong. I understand he's good. But it's just the same thing as always. It's just a value thing. First round running backs, you're getting these 3rd, 4th, 5th round running backs that are just as good. Cam Akers is an amazing running back. They didn't take him in the first round last year.
He's a beauty.
He was better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year, and obviously Helaire was injured, but was still better than him.
That line was just junk too. Let's be honest.
So like I said, it was one of those things.
They rectified that problem.
And then to double down on the really stupid of drafting a first round running back, which is just not a good idea anymore in 2021. The Jacksonville Jaguars last year had one of the best things you can do. They got a undrafted free agent running back on a terrible team, and he played very good with them in James Robinson. Put up over 1,000 yards, played really good. Like,
they got lots of depth now,
all you could ask for on that. So after you draft Trevor Lawrence, you watch the Jets do what you probably should do, which is just shore up that offensive line for him, give him some room, and give him some. No, you draft his running back buddy out of Clemson. And why? Like, that's my only thing with that is like, what was the reasoning behind needing ETN instead of having James Robinson, which gave you everything you want at a much lower contract and everything you could want out of that? Like, I I don't understand why you decide that you need a running back. Like if they took James Robinson in the second round,
I don't mind the pick.
No, but if they took James Robinson,
he's got good hands. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he does. Don't get me wrong, but if you took James Robinson in the second round last year and he put up the numbers he did last year, you would not be drafting ETN this year. The only reason why you're drafting ETN is because James Robinson was an undrafted free agent. Like it just, like I said, you would never, if a guy played that well at any other position, you would never draft another player to play that exact same position, especially when there can only be one on the field at one time. But I said that was kind of my thing. I just didn't, I said I don't like first round running backs anyways, but really don't.
Trevor doesn't mind them. Draft the best player available.
Yeah.
But, one thing, like he said, the Steelers do have crazy amount of holes.
And so
doesn't matter how good Najee Harris is, man. That line just had a guy retire. They lost somebody else to free agency. Yeah. They're in trouble.
Yep.
Their quarterback ran out of gas at the end of the year. Couldn't throw the ball. Their defense has got holes. They're in trouble.
It's all the issues. Going down through the list real quick. Peyton Turner for the Saints. Apparently he's really good. I didn't see
that one happening either.
Greg Newsome out of Northwestern. He's a pretty good corner apparently. Rashad Bateman. So we're going to end this here in a minute or two, but I didn't like Greg Rousseau for the Buffalo Bills. He just, to me, doesn't fit that system, but it is what it is.
Depends what they get him to do.
Exactly.
I like that they doubled up, because they took the Vanderbilt guy in the second round, but I don't mind the pick, but he does need work. His football snaps are limited. Continue.
Exactly. But who were you super excited about for that actually did good this year?
Draft, you mean?
Yeah, for the draft. What team?
The Jets. I'll come out and say the Jets, and I hate the fucking Jets.
Yeah.
I'm a Patriots fan. But, so they get a quarterback. They trade Darnold, whatever you want to say. But then, like I said to Eric, or you guys too, I love the fucking fact that they come up and get Tucker.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to play interior or if he's going to play tackle for them. Either way, they're a lot better team with him than without him, period. Then they come back in the second round, and they get Elijah Moore, who I think, he should have went in the first round.
Yep.
I love him. I think he's a great receiver.
I would take him over Tooney.
Oh man, and exactly. And he's they're both deep threats out of the slot, but I prefer Moore. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I like that, right? They're giving Wilson the tools to succeed. They got an offensive lineman, then they get another receiver. They've got Mims from last year, and he looks like a player too. So it's exciting. They're building something. The Jets are. So I'm pumped for them. And they're doing it right. So they got, I think it's Douglas. What's that GM's name again? He came from Philly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I think Douglas something.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's got a plan, and I think it's the right one. And I think they're going to be competitive sooner than later. And that division is really shaping up, man. Like, I think New England's still kind of trailing. So we'll see how that goes.
Everyone wants to talk about how the Jets are the Jets, blah, blah. I think with the Joe Douglas, the GM there.
It's Joe Douglas, yeah.
I got you, don't worry. I think with him at the helm, I think he's building a very good team, and he's doing it the proper way. Now, that being said, another team that I liked what they did was the Bears. You traded up for your franchise quarterback, but you didn't give up. Yes, you're giving up another first round next year, but guess what? It's either you suck, and even this year with Andy Dalton and that defense.
But they're desperate. Like, they're desperate. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
they're like a team without a plan. They need a fucking quarterback.
Well, that's it, right? You're either Andy Dalton's gonna win you 6 to 8 games probably, right? So you're not gonna be bad enough again.
I used to think that, but I couldn't believe he did jack shit.
Yeah.
With and I'm honestly, because you got a stud running back, or was a stud running back. But I know there's more to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he didn't do anything with Dallas, and it blew my mind.
That line had a lot of issues, but they
really did.
Like I said, it's just I don't think you're gonna be bad enough to be the first overall pick type of scenario with Andy Dalton, right? And I don't think it's a crazy draft for quarterbacks next year either. So like I said, you decide, look, it's now or never. We're gonna draft this guy. We're going to let him. We got Andy for 1 year. We'll let him develop a little bit if we have to. Then we'll put him out there probably week 7, week 8 type of thing. Like a lot of these guys probably will, right? And go from there. But they also grabbed Tevin Jenkins, who is just an absolute monster at left tackle. Might move into guard in the next level, but they grabbed him.
That was a great pick.
He just kept on falling and falling and falling. And same thing, like I would have, if I was the Raiders, if the Raiders took him at, their pick, I would have been happy. Instead, the Chicago Bears get him, later on, middle of the second round type of thing. So Tevin Jenkins and Justin Fields, those two guys there are doing good. Like I said, I almost want to give my bad team of the draft to the Jaguars. Like I said, just because the ETN pick, and like I said, I know it shouldn't.
There's a couple of them.
I know it shouldn't, and like obviously the Raiders are terrible. The Giants. People are saying the Giants won the draft. I think people are crazy. I said yes because he traded back. Perfect, awesome, great. Let's give the guy a pat on the back because he traded back. Let's also give him a kick in the ass because he drafted the 7th or 8th best receiver in the draft, with probably the lowest floor out of all of them. So
they could have traded down again to grab him.
Yeah,
towards the end of the first.
Exactly. So
fucking mind blowing.
Yeah. So anyways, all this stuff, like I said, I just everything, and I understand you're trying to give Trevor Lawrence a running game and everything else, but you draft a tight end at some point early on in the first couple of rounds too. It's just like I said, I don't know. Give the guy. I don't think that line over there is shored up for the Jaguars, but it is what it is. I think the Jets, though, I really like what the Jets are doing. Let's give ourselves some pats on the back, though, Trevor.
I was going to go there. Don't call me a homer, but the first 3 picks for the Chargers, I think, is the Canadian. I can't remember if he was 4th round. It doesn't matter. So maybe it's the 4th or first 4 picks for the Chargers. They got it right.
Yeah, we grabbed.
And he's the Charger fan. I like the Chargers, but he's the Charger fan, and he didn't put me up to this. This is the first he's hit me at. But I really like what they did. Including that receiver. I really think
Josh Palmer.
Oh man, and he played without a quarterback too, and he made some plays for Tennessee.
Well, the thing
the
thing with Josh Palmer, and the reason why they're doing that is because depends on what Mike Williams wants for a contract, right? They're doing it the right way, where you have to plan for Josh Palmer and decide, do we think that Mike Williams is going to want too much in free agency? If he does, sorry, we're going to have Justin Herbert to pay. We just paid Keenan Allen, we paid Joey Bosa, we're probably going to pay Derwin James if he can stay healthy.
Is he better than fucking Keenan Allen? No. Who's more valuable? Keenan Allen.
Yes.
So Mike Williams, you can't stay on the field enough either.
No.
You're good. You're not great. So I'm just going to say they can find a replacement, man. And I think they might have. Found their guy.
The Chargers got Chris Rumpf, who's comes from a family line of his dad's a defensive line coach for the Bears. We grabbed obviously the receiver there. You get the second round pick. You get Asante Samuel Jr. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with it.
Also, very very happy with that pick.
Exactly,
very good player.
Plus, like I said, for me, my favorite tackle in the draft. It's almost like a Derwin James scenario for me again, which hopefully you can stay healthier than Derwin James, knock on wood. But it's like Derwin James just fell to us. It was like you're giving us the 3rd or 4th best player in this entire draft at 15, 17, whatever he was. It's like, sure, we'll take him there. Just let him fall to us. It's the same thing with Slater, and it's the same thing with you guys. Let's give the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. Everybody knows I hate the Patriots. I have a lot of friends that are Patriot fans. Don't hate you. Hate your team though. But
I couldn't believe that Mac Jones tells the commissioner right on stage, don't say anything. This is where I want it to
be the whole time.
Then he comes out and says it. I'm like, holy fuck, Mac. Jesus.
Just doesn't care. But then you guys grab Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle out of Alabama.
I love that pick, Eric. So they're saying the most talented defensive. Yeah. He takes plays off, but he won't with Belichick, or you won't be there.
No, but it kind of gives you guys.
We always take the fat ass. Tackles, and they do well for us.
Will Fork guy. Oh my God, it's all these guys, right?
So sexy. But you're right, man.
But then you go,
I love the defensive end too, out of undersized. But I wonder if we play him as a linebacker. I'm trying to think of his name. I should have wrote that down. Doesn't matter. And I even like the running back,
Ronnie Perkins.
Suitor. Yes. Perkins. Yeah. Like I liked him in college. But I see him more as a linebacker, but he can play defensive end. Like he'd be great. He's a great rusher, but he needs a little work on the run game. But I like him a lot, and he's an athlete. And I really like the. I couldn't believe we took a running back in the 4th. His teammate, but I like him too. He's a. I almost want to compare him to Blunt. Like he's a physical mother beeper. It's like I could go by Eric. I could try to juke or give him a shimmy shake. I'm going to hit Eric.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to drop my shoulder pad. I'm not going to try to dodge him. I'm going to hit him. So I think he'd be off the maybe. I don't know if New England. Well, it's hard to say with New England. He could redshirt because they do that a lot with running backs.
Yeah, they kind
of. But he'd be a good goal line back. He's almost like a Blunt for us, right?
Yep.
I don't know if he's as good.
No,
because I want to say Blunt got a little more shape to him, right?
Blunt was always a little underrated, but anyways.
Agreed. But I like it, and I'm not a huge whatever. I didn't see that pick coming, but I like it. So,
well,
anyways, you know what? Oh, one more I didn't like.
Yep. Go.
A running back pick, Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Like, okay, unless Eric's right, unless next week Aaron Rodgers is coming, love the pick then. Love the pick, right? He's got two really good running backs.
You just paid Melvin
Gordon. A good
Gordon.
running back and a pretty good running back, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we'll give the Jets a little bit more love when they picked his college teammate Carter.
Yeah.
Out of that's North Carolina, right?
Yeah, Michael Carter.
So that's North.
Yeah.
Anyways, a little shout out to him because he's really good too. He got overshadowed by Williams a little bit this year, but he's really good too.
Oh, did I lose him? Ladies and gentlemen, I might have lost Trevor. I think I may have. Well, I guess that's gonna be the episode.
More. I fucking hate the Jets too. It's ironic. Sorry.
I lost you for about the last 5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah,
so what was I saying?
I don't remember. But anyways, we're going to end it there. I got to run off to my thing. Thank you guys for listening. This has been a quick episode, but we just kind of recapped it.
Fucking epic episode.
We're going to talk more about football, more about hockey as time comes on. Like I said, we're going to try to get these out a little bit more often, but thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys haven't yet. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like I said, we always like to talk about football. We'll talk about hockey all the time too. This episode, we just kind of wanted to concentrate on this just because of the NFL draft. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys listening. And for Eric and Trevor from the bench, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Stick on the ice.
Bye, guys.